Across every civilization, whispers of a hidden truth have endured. A truth so unsettling that even sages spoke of it in riddles, wrapping it in allegory and myth. It is the idea that not all who walk this earth carry the same inner flame. Some traditions taught that vast portions of humanity were born without the divine essence, the eternal spark that links the human soul to the infinite. If this is true, then much of what we call humanity might be a grand illusion. Billions of forms that appear alive, but are hollow on the inside. They look like us, they speak like us, they work beside us, and even love as we do. But within them lies only silence, an empty mirror, a vessel animated by life, but not touched by spirit. This is the forbidden mystery, that perhaps half of the world around us may be soulless. Hints of this idea are scattered across the ancient world. Gnostic Christianity divided humanity into three groups: the pneumatics, who carried the divine spirit; the psychics, ordinary souls capable of salvation; and the hylics, tied only to matter, devoid of the eternal spark. The hylics were not evil by choice, they were simply incapable of transcending flesh, destined to live and die in forgetfulness. In Hindu cosmology, this concept emerges through the three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. The tamasic beings, overwhelmed by inertia and darkness, were seen as bound so tightly to matter that they drifted like shadows. Even within the Bible, cryptic warnings appear. In the parable of the wheat and the tares, Christ speaks of two groups growing together in the same field. One seeded by heaven, the other by the enemy. To human eyes they are indistinguishable, but at the harvest, the great unveiling, the difference will be revealed. Were these passages allegories, or veiled references to a truth too dangerous for the masses? The distinction between the soul-bearer and the hollow vessel is found across mystical teachings. Those with the divine spark are said to carry within them a fragment of higher reality, a jewel hidden in the clay of flesh. This spark burns with longing for truth, for transcendence, for God. It suffers when surrounded by lies, and it rejoices in the presence of beauty and wisdom. The soulless, however, are like well-constructed masks. They mimic human life flawlessly. They can marry, raise families, invent technologies, build empires. But everything they do emerges from repetition, instinct or imitation, not from the flame of eternity. Their eyes may shine with intelligence but not with presence. Their words may echo wisdom but carry no depth. They are reflections without light behind them. Mystics often compared them to mirrors that never reflect, or instruments that produce sound without music. They are form without essence. In our modern age, this ancient mystery finds new language in the language of technology. Simulation theory proposes that our reality may be more like a coded dream than an objective universe. If this is true, then perhaps not all characters are equal. Just as video games fill their worlds with NPCs, non-player characters, beings who look alive but follow simple scripts, perhaps our own reality is structured in the same way. Not every figure encountered on the street would then be a conscious being. Some would be highly elaborate simulations, animated shadows designed to create the backdrop of the game. Mystics argue that this explains why so many people seem incapable of true self-reflection or inner growth. Their lives loop endlessly: eat, work, sleep, repeat. Their conversations recycle cliches. Their values are borrowed. Their passions shallow. They exist that do not awaken. The ancients did not speak of NPCs, but their warnings align eerily well.
Civilizations feared the soulless, not because they were inherently wicked, but because they lacked the capacity for spirit. In Egypt, there was the concept of the kybit, the shadow double of a person, which clung to the earth after death. In Jewish mysticism, the klipoth were empty shells, husks left behind when divine sparks fell into matter. The Sufis, too, warned of people who walk as if asleep, bodies in motion without remembrance of God. And the Native American Hopis spoke of the two-hearted people, those who walk among the tribe, but serve only self, without inner fire. In every case, these beings were not demons from outside. They were part of humanity itself, indistinguishable until tested by truth.
If the soulless are real, their presence reshapes our understanding of society. For what we call civilization may not be driven primarily by awakened beings, but by hollow repetition. Mystics point to the way human history repeats itself. Empires rise and fall in predictable patterns. Wars ignite over the same desires. Cultures cycle through the same illusions. The awakened minority may innovate or guide, but the vast machinery of the world is powered by those who cannot rise above instinct. This explains why so much of human life feels strangely empty, why art, politics, and culture so often descend into mimicry. Civilization is built not by gods in flesh, but by echoes. Stones stacked upon stones, progress without transcendence.
Question then arises, how can one tell the difference between those who carry the spark and those who do not? Traditions give subtle signs. The soul-bearing individual often feels alienated, as if they do not belong in this world. They are drawn toward mystery, compelled to question reality itself. They carry empathy that cuts deeper than logic, creativity that bursts beyond survival, and a longing for a home they cannot name. By contrast, the soulless excel at imitation. They mirror emotions but never embody them. They echo truths but never live them. Their laughter feels scripted, their passions shallow, their words hollow once the performance ends. For the awakened, encountering such a being can feel like looking into eyes that are windows, but behind the glass lies only an empty room.
If this divide is real, history takes on a new light. Wars, corruption, and cruelty may not simply be the result of evil souls, but the inevitable outcome of a majority unable to transcend their programming. The prophets, mystics, and sages who shaped history, Moses, Buddha, Christ, Rumi, were sparks among shadows, voices among echoes. They struggled not only against tyrants, but against the inertia of an unawakened crowd. And this explains why their messages are so often distorted, simplified, and drained of power. Because most who hear them cannot comprehend their depth. The awakened are forever outnumbered, their task heavy, their voices drowned. Yet they return, age after age, carrying the torch through endless night. Why would creation allow for beings without souls? Why not populate the universe only with sparks of eternity? Esoteric traditions answer with paradox. The hollow exist as part of the architecture of awakening. They are mirrors against which the soul discovers itself. They provide resistance, teaching the awakened how to discern, how to preserve their flame in a world of shadows. Without the soulless majority, the soul might never recognize its own rarity. The hollow are the night against which the stars shine. They are not errors in creation, but part of its design. Because the soulless can drain those who carry the spark, nearly every spiritual tradition developed practices of discernment. The Gnostics retreated into silence and meditation, distinguishing spirit from matter. The Sufis invoked the divine names until their hearts could sense the difference between presence and absence. Yogis meditated for lifetimes, piercing the veil of Maya to see beyond the masks of the world. These practices were never meant as judgment, but as protection. For the awakened, exposure to the hollow without discernment can feel suffocating, as if their light is swallowed by an ocean of emptiness. Only by anchoring in spirit could they survive in such a world. Your one question remains unresolved. Are the soulless forever hollow, or can they awaken? Some traditions insist they are destined only for dust. They are forms created to fill the stage without eternal future. Others suggest a more hopeful vision, that even the hollow may, in rare moments, catch fire from the spark of another. That through contact, suffering, or divine grace, emptiness itself can be transformed into light. Perhaps the role of the awakened is not only to guard their flame, but to ignite flames where none existed before. And perhaps what seems soulless today is not a final condition, but a mystery of becoming. If half of humanity is soulless, then the world is far stranger than we have ever dared to believe. Every conversation, every encounter, every glance may be a meeting between the eternal and the empty. To know this is not to despair, but to awaken responsibility. For if you carry the spark, then your existence is not ordinary. You are here to embody light in a world of shadows, to remember what others cannot, to keep alive the song of eternity among echoes of silence. And if the divine spark is within you, then you were never meant to live as an echo. You were meant to shine as eternity remembering itself. You just uncovered another secret with JB Animated Mysteries. If this journey spoke to you, like, share, comment and subscribe so you never miss the hidden truths waiting in the shadows. Until we meet again, remember, the veil is thin and the mysteries are endless.